bap boo dow, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to part 2 of episode 34. 34. Yeah, of the FAW, that's Spanish for F&W podcast, featuring your team of amazing podcasters. I am your host, again, at Josh_Carmen. You can follow me on Twitter. Find us on... Hey, we have a Snapchat now. I know you guys don't know that. But we are on Snapchat as faithandwhatever, space faithandwhatever.
We can finally send nudes.
Oh, God.
That's what you do on Snapchat, I believe.
Yeah, it is. Wait, no, I don't know.
Up in the ante.
I don't have Snapchat, I swear.
So as far as not crossing lines is concerned, that's no longer a thing on this podcast. So stay tuned as James gets more racist and inappropriate. Just kidding. So I'm at Josh_Carmen. The McWherters are on Instagram at We Are The McWherters, and you can find their spectacular YouTube channels at The MC Warders. MC Warders, Mick Warders.
Yeah.
Jamothy is at James YUILE. Garrett is at T Student Life, and Chris can be found at Marion Ranch. So James, what topic are we on right now?
Pop topic.
What is that?
Pop topic.
Getting gritty.
Bringing it back.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Hot Pocket. I was like, what's that from?
Hot Pocket. Good. So go ahead and tell us what we are going to be pining over today.
Okay, so in the news,
the nude.
Yeah, in Snapchat.
This is our Snapchat segment.
By the way, I'm not racist. Let's just throw that out there right now.
I don't
But
even
you are a
think you said a
nudist.
racist thing.
Well, according to Josh, it is. So in the news, one of the founders of Oculus Rift, and that's
what is Oculus Rift?
It's a VR headset that is. VR is becoming a thing now, mostly because of Oculus Rift. Although there's alternative options. Oculus Rift really started it all.
If people want to find out more about alternative VR stuff, where can they go?
I don't know.
To the F&W
Google
Game
it.
Club?
F&W Game Club, I suppose. Yeah, that's a good place. That's our plug of the week, I guess. But so one of the founders, his name is Palmer Luckey. What a great name, Palmer Luckey. It was discovered...
We're like Palmer Unlucky after this.
Despite what he says, he tried to deny it, but the evidence is mounting that he is part of this company or this group called Nimble America that's ardent followers of Donald Trump and put out a lot of...
Is it weird that sounds like NAMBLA?
What are you talking about?
It's like
this is off the
National
rails.
Association of Man-Boy Love.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's exactly what NIMBLA is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so... he's part of this group called Nimble America. He's like the vice president, even though he denies it. There's a lot of evidence. And that he had been producing a lot of, and putting out on the internet, really inflammatory, mostly inappropriate stuff about Hillary Clinton in order to support Donald Trump. Basically, imagine a professional troll. He was like an anonymous professional troll. And because he's the founder of Oculus Rift, even though he doesn't own it anymore, he sold to Facebook, all these companies said that they would stop supporting Oculus Rift, but they won't put their games out on it, so you can't play these VR games on the Oculus Rift. And that led us to the question for today, which is, how much should someone's politics affect your relationship to them, or whether you would do business with them? You can spin it any way you want. How much should politics matter? I mean, because the classic answer is, it's all private space. Like, your politics are yours, my politics are mine. Let's not mix those things. But this led me to really think about it. I mean, I don't know if you should withdraw your business from a whole company because of one man, but politics is much more important than that. We shouldn't be so laissez-faire about it.
Nice political use.
Yeah, because the thing is especially if you're actively pushing your politics, you're trying to change our nation for us. And shouldn't that matter in our interrelations? That the way somebody's trying to affect all of our lives, shouldn't that be a factor in what we do and how we interact and whether we do business with? Like, can we just make it private space and pretend like it's not a thing when in fact it might be the biggest thing outside of religion?
So why don't you start us off? What are your...
Sounds like the Chick-fil-A thing.
Yeah, like the Chick-fil-A thing. Right, because...
That's a perfect example.
Yeah, they were very strongly against the LGBTQ community. I can't remember in exactly what way, but they came out... I believe they even funded some politicians for that reason. I'm a little bit iffy on the story of that company. But I remember something like that, and then so a lot of people, some people were totally for it and wanted to give them more business, and other people were totally against it and refused to eat
and then other people just didn't care and just wanted to eat some chicken.
Yeah, and then about 6 months later, they seemed to go back on all of those statements to try to rectify the situation, and people reacted to that in their own way. Actually, I figured we should start with Chris, because I think Chris would probably have this thought out. What's going on?
I think you're all a bunch of statists, but I still hang out with you. So.
Only one of the four of us here knows what that means.
A sadist?
Statist.
Satanist?
Satanist?
A sadist.
We heard sadist, and Satanist. So,
Lovers of the state.
reader's interpretation.
Oh.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts?
It gets really hard. I mean, there'd be almost no companies you do business with after a certain point.
Yeah.
I do have this handy little app on my phone where you can scan the barcode of a product and it'll tell you how much they donate and to which political party.
That is awesome.
You would have that.
Can you please tell
Is
us
that
the
one
name
that
of
you made by
I
yourself?
don't remember. I'll look it up later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is an app you made on your own.
The most interesting thing, though, is how many companies donate lots of money to both parties.
Yeah.
So
Because
I mean,
they want to get that political hold no matter who wins.
Yeah.
But it's a curious question because remember when Firefox's executive got fired because it came out that he had donated his own private money to Prop 8,
Oh, yeah.
and so he got canned and basically run out of Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
So
Which one's Prop 8 again?
Prop 8 was gay marriage.
No gay marriage in California.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So, but that's an interesting thing. It's like how much should, and I don't just mean someone's beliefs, but somebody who acts on those beliefs. Somebody who, like Luckey Palmer, he had been dedicating a lot of his time apparently to both defaming Hillary Clinton and trying to get Trump elected.
well, and they also said it was a social experiment to see how much influence memes can have.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of like them just trying to.
But there's no recourse. He sold Oculus Rift and he has $700 million.
Right.
He doesn't care if you stop buying Oculus Rifts.
Oh yeah, I'm not trying to say that
No,
that
I'm just
particular
saying
story
it's
is
funny
effective.
because these people getting mad at Oculus Rift.
Yeah, that's silly.
Yeah.
But the question is, if he was still the owner, right? If he was still the head of that company, then should that change? Should I consider whether I buy the Oculus Rift because of him, right?
These things. So
Should my politics affect my business in that way? Should it affect my public life in that way? And the decisions I make with my money and with my friendships and with everything.
So we brought in some experts to go ahead and give some pretty concretized opinions.
Your
there.
parents, you're experts on everything.
So,
Oh, God. Not yet.
what do you guys think? No, you're totally parents.
No, I mean, we're not experts on everything.
Oh,
yet.
you got about another 6 weeks to learn everything you need to learn.
Yeah.
So what are you guys?
everything.
What are you guys' personal opinions?
In my opinion, I don't think it should, like, what other people believe. I mean, the Chick-fil-A thing, even if I was so, like, hardcore for LGBT, I'm not saying I'm against LGBT, I'm not saying I'm for it, I'm just saying that their chicken's good. Like, I don't care. I don't care what they believe, but their chicken's good.
Okay.
So, and I was thinking about more like, if our YouTube channel became like a business source, like a source of our income.
Sure.
I wouldn't want people to stop watching us because they didn't agree with us being Christians. Like, I wouldn't want someone to be like, I don't want to watch them just because they're Christians.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would still want to be part of their day-to-day life, like watching us every once in a while.
Of course, because that's money in the bank, man.
And it's money in the bank, and I'm just saying, like, yeah, I guess that's a selfish thing to say. Yeah, all right.
Well, turn the tides.
I know
What if it was a similar kind of channel ran by Muslim parents?
Uh-huh.
But we're not just talking about that's their beliefs, but the money they make, they're going to tie them to their religious affairs, that they're going to press Islamic belief upon their viewers. Like, does that create a discomfort for you? Would you jump on their Patreon and
I'm not
pay
gonna
them?
jump on anyone's Patreon.
Well,
Except faith in whatever.
Except faith and whatever.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
$1
That's fine.
a year.
No, not so much.
But I think that's a fair question, right? Like, does that change the way you want to connect to that channel?
I don't know.
I do care to a certain degree. Particularly, I don't know that I would care in other scenarios. And this one is a moot point, ultimately, because of the selling to Facebook. But in particular with this Trump stuff, like, I can't get behind it. There's something about the person of him. And to be fair, I would also feel the other way if somebody was doing the same thing with Hillary. Like, I wouldn't be able to support that because they're both horrific. In my estimation, and I think they're both trash. So I can't, and especially with this active proselytizing in a way that's intentionally negative.
So you're going to stop watching Joss Whedon movies?
I don't watch Joss Whedon movies anyway.
Really?
Do you know who Joss Whedon is?
I have no idea who he is. I have no idea
who he is. Because he just made that video for Hillary.
And yeah, I mean, I probably would.
Yeah, he's behind Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show.
You would stop watching Joss Whedon stuff just because he...
For this stuff, yeah. This has a deep bothering effect to me, and this is the first time in my entire life where I have actually cared. Another way to put this is listening to people who write great music but are terrible people. And I think John Mayer is a perfect example of this. He's an awful person. At least he was. He's an awful person, but he puts out fantastic tunes. And normally I don't care. Right?
Do you know that Apple donated to Hillary Clinton? And
I don't use Apple. This is Pear. And so the intentionality.
It pairs with everything.
Yeah. And so there's an intentionality. And so I get that there is there's a certain level of hypocrisy that goes into that. That's unavoidable, essentially, there. But as far as it is with... intentionally going and getting into bed with something again with that information, right? It would be something that would change my recourse. Yeah. And so it would be a bit effective. Now this is again first time and probably the only time realistically, but I think it is interesting when we bring up a topic like this because this has affected like the way that I've done ministry with youth stuff. Even like when I buy candy, right? When I buy candy to give away, like I try not to buy stuff that I know has been sourced poorly or unethically and things like that, and so it has
free trade candy.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a thing, and it's more expensive.
It's really a thing.
And yeah, it's absolutely a thing.
I should have known.
And so I've tried to actually do that because when you find out information like this, like, you know, I feel like I have to take a response to that as a believer and as somebody who's in a position of authority with students, and that example matters to me.
Yeah, the only thing in my life that I can compare to this sort of thing that I actually had to struggle through, and this was years ago, is as a youth and as a late teen, I really liked the band Tool, right? A really great heavy metal band. Excellent, musically genius, in every way, just an incredible band. Yes, they are. But that's not the point. The point is, I really liked them, but as I grew in my Christian faith and I grew to take my Christian faith more seriously, I realized that they were quite antithetical to that, especially the lyrics. Some of the lyrics not only promote a different worldview, but also attack a Christian worldview. And and it's not that I ceased to like Tool. It's not like, oh man, I'm offended at Tool now. No, I love their music to this day. But I had to make the choice that, am I going to take my own beliefs seriously enough not to, promote what this is, not like buy into that, not purchase their albums, and not sort of partake in listening to their music because it is an antithetical proposition they're giving. And that was the only time in my life that I had to really consider something like that, that I know of, that I can recall now. But I think it's a good question. I think that we're getting to a point where, like, Trump a year ago was a joke. Nobody had to take any of this seriously. And
5 stages of Trump grief.
Right.
We've done that video. It's on our YouTube. You can go find it.
Trump was a joke, so nobody had to really consider him. But we're getting to a point now where you might actually have to think about a Trump presidency and how much that matters to you. For some people who's his supporters, they're going to love it. They're not worried at all. But for those of us who... we don't support, in case of me, I'd actively not support, right? That does this now change everything else in my life?
Well, and Chris brings up a good point in the idea that we are forced into some type of inevitable hypocrisy, just in the sense that the world is so big in terms of its globalization and the company's reach of that there's no way that we can escape it totally. And as far as this one goes, pragmatically speaking, I wouldn't care because he's already sold OR to Facebook, and so that there's nothing much more that can be done about it as far as
Oculus Rift
himself
goes.
In particular. But if you were to start a new endeavor or something like that, or try and kind of bring something, I don't know that I could get behind it. And I think that's ultimately the decision one has to wrestle with, is where does one draw a line in each particular scenario. And I don't think this is something that would be valuable to actively proselytize, kind of push on other people,
well,
but as a personal conviction, maybe.
The question it raises, and I'm not the first to raise it by any means, is that do you have beliefs if you're not willing to act upon them? Right? Like, so if you have beliefs about Trump, let's say, whether they're positive or negative, if you're not willing to act upon them, do you really have any kind of valid belief there? Positive or negative. Same thing with Hillary Clinton, just to flip the coin, right? If you have positive or negative feelings about Hillary Clinton, if you're not willing to act upon them, do you really have any kind of like valid belief there? And if you want your belief to be valid, you sort of need to learn, you have to be able to function via that belief. And so most political candidates have not meant much to me, either because I didn't know enough about them or because they just haven't done what the present ones are doing. They are so publicly what they are, and for some people they love that, for other people they're offended. And for me, Trump, I'm particularly sensitive to Trump, and that I really actively do not want him to be president. So do I need to operate in how do I operate those beliefs? How do I practice those beliefs? How do I and so let's say I find out Stater Brothers gave a bunch of money to Trump campaigning. Should I stop shopping at Stater Brothers, for example?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe that. I think that's the sort of situation we're finding ourselves in. I think if more people,
except for their chips.
I think if more people acted in accordance to their beliefs, I think the current like presidential race would be very different. And so to sort of like
starting to feel the burn in here. Is it getting hot or what?
I think to sort of just sweep it under the rug is to like just passively let bad happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, off my soapbox there. Did you want to add anything there, Josh?
No, I feel like we're pretty good. You guys got any last thoughts or anything you want to throw in?
You got something to say?
Does it terrify you?
I feel like I changed my perspective on it. You guys, I'm pretty impressionable. You guys changed my.
All right, we got another one.
My
Is
view.
it weird to raise a kid? No, yeah, that's a great question, Chris. Raising a kid knowing that Trump might be president? Like the world might end before our next birthday?
Yeah, I mean, there's some place in Canada welcoming anybody who wants to escape the presidency by Trump.
Oh, he's not going to bring that.
No, he would just bring a nuclear apocalypse.
So no zombies?
I mean, I don't know. Are zombies a byproduct of nuclear radiation?
Depends on which movie you're watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, which movie do we need to watch for that
We'll
to
let
be?
you ponder on those fantastic questions, but please consider not voting for Donald Trump
Or Hillary.
Throw your vote away.
Please consider not voting at all.
Yeah.
That's what Chris thinks.
I'm not voting either.
I'm not voting.
So, yeah, and don't tell me I can't complain if I
Vote for
can't
Stephen Colbert.
because you don't know me. I do what I want. And what I want is for you to follow us on Twitter. We are at faithandwhatever. They are at the McWherters, THE MCWHERTERS. Be sure to follow them, love their channel, show them some love, tell them to get a Patreon so you can support them, and keep them in your prayers as they get ready to usher in a beautiful baby girl into the world. Thank you so much for stopping by.